I will attempt the name again. Utawarerumono. Mask of Truth. I can say Mask of Truth. That's in English. So this is the third in a series of kind of visual novels with strategy combat, as you're seeing here. And I really have always kind of heard this. It's not a name you forget very easily, so I've heard of these things for, I guess, a while, but maybe not that long. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Never played the other two. This is the third one. This is the dramatic conclusion of sorts, or whatever you want to call it. And it's fantastic. I really have been blown away by this game. I don't understand why it's so good. I think it's also part of the problem, which leads to why I like it so much, is the beginning, where there's just a lot of talking. There's a lot of just talking back and forth, anime heads, like a visual novel like you'd expect. Just characters and characters. And the first 2 hours has one strategy fight in it, and then the rest of it is just characters talking, backstory. Let's get everything going. And after that hump of 2 hours of like, oh my god, this is just so many characters, it kind of slows down. It stops introducing new characters and just goes into this war plot that is so fascinating and interesting to me. So basically, the game picks up after the end of the second game. And the end of the second game is you and your team of people. The main people involved are Oster and Haku. Haku's the main character guy. Oster is this general for the king, ruler, god man. And the king, ruler, god man dies. And his daughter, the heir, is poisoned. Oster is framed for this and is captured. Your party member with Haku, your party with Haku and everyone else, goes to rescue Oster and the princess and take them away because they know he's been framed and whatever. In this ensuing leaving the capital city with, her god king's dead now, like there's all these problems, Oster dies. But because of all the problems that would cause, he's a high rank in this military and has a lot of connections. He picks Haku to take up and pretend to be him, Oster, for the rest of his life, or at least the rest of this war, so that they can finish it. And he's pretending to every single person that Haku's dead. But Haku's not dead, is Oster. And the only person who knows is Oster's sister, Nekone. Now, this is complicated. You can already, I don't even know, I explained it mostly correctly. But this is very complicated. And I'm not even mentioning the 15 other characters that are involved. These other 8 generals of the whatever, I forget what they're called. I have it written down, but the 8 generals of something, and they're like, oh, this is this guy's brother, and that guy's daughter is the princess of this country, and they all have to start it's like Game of Thrones over here. It's anime Game of Thrones, where each family has their own problem, their own history. They're maneuvering about, oh, if we do this military tactic, because now we know we have the true princess, so you reveal that we have the true heir, but the people in the capital have also revealed a fake imposter, and not everyone of that 8 council is dumb enough to fall for it. But they all can't act on it, because if they do, they'll be killed, because the regime is like, all this, it's so goddamn good. I love that stuff. And it does it way, way better than you'd expect it, especially from an anime game like this, where there are goofy innuendos. There are 2 characters that just drapes themselves on you. You don't see anything because the game's just talking still images for the most part. And it's just, here's a bunch of innuendo for 5 minutes, and you're like, all right, anime, we see what you're doing. And that's cute and fine and whatever. And there's, you play a card game with this one character, and she ends up losing so much and just like losing all her clothes. It doesn't show anything, but it's the anime indulgence of it. It has all that, and then it has this fascinating war plot with also this turn-based combat I haven't even mentioned yet. And what really stuck out to me, now this game's also like 60 plus hours long, and I've played maybe 18, maybe. But even after 5 hours, I was sold. I was 100% sold on this game. I think it's incredible. I don't know why. It's just hitting all the exact things I want. As a big Game of Thrones fan who loves the minutia of Game of Thrones, there's a lot of minutia here. You might be going 2 hours between battles where you're just watching people talk. And that sounds boring, and it can be. Sometimes it's a little long. But for the most part, these characters are interesting. They all have their histories. They all have backstories with each other. Because this is the third entry, the final entry, they have all this history from the previous games that I didn't have to sit through. I just get the good shit. I didn't have to deal with all your nonsense and your, oh, Frodo's got to get the ring and then he's got to... No, we're just going and returning the king right now. That's what we're doing. And it's awesome. And it, to its credit, it does not, at least so far, pull that many punches with war. Like, you're lighting people on fire in this cutscene and there's like burning alive. And sure, it's this cutesy anime art style, but it's like, oh yeah, we're burning all the soldiers alive. Oopsies. Like, we gotta be tough, it's war. And there's these scenes that happen that I think the end result of them is to be expected, more or less, but the way it gets there, like there's this one moment where a character brings out like a tamed beast, right? A supposedly tamed beast for you to fight. It's supposed to like come out of its cage and just like wreck shop. And it just turns on its captors and just kills them. And they were important people that were built up. And I was like, oh, okay. And then you fight it. And then that whole scene ends. And then something immediately after that happens that I didn't expect at all, has huge political implications for everything else that's going on with you trying to make a break as this like protected country because you have the Jew princess. You're in the right, but the people in charge are in the wrong, and they have the big army, and you know, it's like all this. Then there's optics play into this, where it's like, oh, we spread misinformation and now you're losing allies. It's like, god damn, it's so fascinating. And these, I love it. I love the story. I don't want to go into it more. I can't even. Because even after 16 hours, I've played maybe 8 of these fights. I'm still so early. It's so good, though. I don't know if I'll beat it. I really would like to, but it's so damn long. So she said, but it's really good. And the other good part of it is this turn-based strategy combat. It's not like Fire Emblem. There's no permadeath. There's not you move all your units and then the other team moves all their units. It has a kind of speed gauge that, you know, compares all the units' speed. If your speed's higher, you go first. So it might be you move all of your units and then 3 of the other units go, and then 2 of yours go, and then 3 of the other ones go. So you kind of have to pay attention to that. Each attack has different squares it will hit. So some of them will hit the square in front of it, some will hit the squares around it, and some of them will go back further. So you can plan out attacks that way. In addition, each attack has different combo chains attached to it. So it'll be like the first move just hits the enemy in front of you, but then the second move extends it outward. So you'll hit the people around that enemy as well. And then the final one only hits the one in front of you, but it does poison damage. And in addition to all of that, because there's still equipment and skills and other things, in addition to 20 plus characters that you have to remember, there are little Super Mario RPG button presses you have to do. So you've been seeing it pop up here where it's like, oh, it's a circle shrinking inward and you have to press it once it gets inward and then you do more damage. Or sometimes you get attacked and you have to defend like that and the circle goes outward and you have to press the button. Or you have to hold the thing and release it at a certain time. Fun little mini games that it doesn't necessarily add extra, like a ton of extra damage, if it even does. Sometimes it does, it depends on the attack. It doesn't add a ton of extra damage. It's mostly for status effects and other things going on. And it's a fun little mini game to do. And this was something, it's one of those games where I saw it and was like, this is, I think, something I might really enjoy. And you just kind of take the shot. I did get a review code for this game. But, you know, I was like, yeah, sure, give it to me. I'll play it. And it is incredible. It's definitely for a specific audience that can deal with just reading text for hours at a time and are also interested in strategy combat, you can even rewind the combat at like basically any point. You can just stop it and like, oh no, I messed that up 20 turns ago. Let's go back and unmess that up, which I think is super smart. And it hasn't been too challenging yet. And part of that is I've done it like 2 mock fights. You can just do them at any time. You can replay the other battles, get other equipment, level up your characters with bonus points, which you get for doing certain battles. And I not to go on and on about this game because I don't think there's much else to say. It's like I said, for very specific person, and that very specific person just happens to be me. I love it. I may be crazy to say it, this year of all years, I think it's probably one of my favorites of the year. I've really enjoyed the story. I love the combat. I mean, these characters are interesting. The plot, as it keeps unfurling, it's not rushing itself. It's just every new plot point's like, oh, so-and-so is here. What are they going to do? Oh, shit, they're doing that? I didn't. Oh, my gosh, what does that mean? But what is that? Oh, no, that person's hurt. And there's all this interesting... It's intrigue. The whole thing is intrigue. And I am very, very intrigued by all of it. And I'm not going to try and say the name again. Mask of Truth. But it's pretty good. It only just came out a couple days ago. Great game. I'm going to have a full written review on thegamefanatics.com soonish. I have most of it written. I know it's not the day it came out. We'll deal. We'll deal. Dodge the attack. It's fun. The combat is a lot of fun. It almost... There are some negatives of like, I really wish there was more combat. You know, like there are plenty of breaks where it kind of lets you pick what scene to go to next, and you could just choose not to go to any scene and just do battles instead, and you'll level up and all that in these battles, so you can't get stuck. There's no overworld you're going around. It's enjoying the story that you just happen to have power over the combat in. It's great. Freaking great. Watch the bird attack. Come on, bird. Come on, bird, attack. I believe in you. Do it. Do it. Bird. You can see the different squares of effect. Just attack, bird, so I can end. Thank you. Look at the bird. Don't piss off the bird.